Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Malachi Cowtipper going to bring you another game of StarCraft 2. And before I start, I'm going to turn off my air conditioning. There we go. So, it is very, very hot outside, I believe, when I casted another game earlier today. That's right, I'm talking casts in succession. You guys might not see them in succession, but they are. It is nearly 100 degrees out in Wisconsin. It's supposed to be fucking cold in Wisconsin. Anyway, today's opponent is Mimikio. I'm gonna call him Mimikio. Kind of sounds like a Japanese lady or something like that. I don't know. But Ohana LE is the map, and I think I've said in cast before that I like this map. I think I've said in cast before that I think this map is really dumb. And, oh, misclick. That sucks so bad when that happens. That's just the worst thing in the world. But anyway, when you take a look at this, very narrow map. It definitely forces engagements, usually in the middle of the map, usually kind of in the open. Right over here is another very popular place for engagements. And usually what ends up happening is these bases up here end up being the contested bases. There's a lot of fighting over who can get and establish that fifth base. It's very, very important for the game. So going into this, you know, we're talking ZVZ, mirror matchup, and again, it's all about openings. It's all about what you decide to do to counter what your opponent does. So I am still working on perfecting my, I'm going to call it an eco bust, where a couple different things happen. You get bane lanes before you get speed to prevent any type of speedling shenanigans, and then you build up until you have about 20 or so workers on minerals and then 3 on gas, and then you go for very heavy pressure using a small mix of bane lanes and also zerglings. It seems to be working out very, very well. I like it because it allows you to kind of, you can play it defensively if you need to, but you can also play it offensively if you end up not needing it defensively, and it allows you to transition usually very nicely into another type of build because your economy is already somewhat kind of there. So checking this out, Mimikio very, very fast in the scout. Myself, I'm typically a very, very fast scouter when it comes to ZVZ, and I should have grabbed his drone right there. That would have been the perfect time for a drone kill, but we can see he is beating me to this. His Overlord moving out over here, and both of us sending out the Overlords is like, sup bro. One thing that you can usually do in ZVZ matches is you can spread your Overlords all over the map. Sorry for all the discombobulation there, but we are going to see him putting down what looks like his hatchery first. Yep, there we go. But as I was saying, your Overlords can go all over the map, which is cool. It gives you map vision, and very rarely will you see a lot of creep spread in ZVZ games, just because even though it gives us vision, it gives the other opponent that movement speed bonus as they come into your base. So it's kind of a back and forth. I now find that second base, and that's actually going to make me feel really comfortable going one base play right here for right now. So this is a tricky spot to be in for him. I have a couple different options. His pool is going down. Well, my pool's about to finish, so it's realistic to think that I could have a bunch of lings outside of his base, you know, with a queen spawn helping them before he can get any real numbers of them out. He will have this hatchery, which is easily going to help make up for that. So one thing is, if you're going to go one base, kind of like what I'm doing here, whatever attack you do, you need to make sure that it's very effective, and it needs to be cost effective as well. So we can see my bane lane nest coming up right away. That's going to be followed by speed as soon as I have it. And what that's going to be nice about that is I will have speed probably just a little bit before he does, but I'll also have bane lanes when he won't have the money to support them at all, so at least initially. So as long as I capitalize and make good on it, I'll be okay. But the one thing with this is you need to be careful about how long you take. If you take too long to get this attack up and running, you basically negate whatever bonus you had going into it, and it's completely foobarred up. So his second hatchery is up. Right now, until he gets a defensive position, a couple queens and a spine or two, this is a 300 mineral beacon that's calling to be attacked. So getting defenses like the spine crawler up, absolutely imperative. We can see my first set of lings coming, 6 more lings coming out of myself. Nope, excuse me, those were a couple lings coming out of him. You can see I'm producing 2 more, and I'm waiting for this first clutch of eggs to spawn, and then I'm going to dump a lot of minerals, and behind that dump, I'm also going to start expanding. So I am going to be building my extra hatchery behind this pressure, and I'm actually going to cancel that just for a second because I want those minerals to get the lings out. That's one thing you got to be careful about how you do this. You can see 12 more units worth of lings. I am going to take control of the Zelnaga. I'm going to morph in a few units worth of bane lanes, so he knows I'm coming. He has lings ready. He has a queen up here. He has a second queen that just finished. My scouting ling does get killed, which is kind of upsetting, but not really all that bad considering that I have a lot more lings on the way. My speed will be up quite a bit before his. Let's check out the economy. We'll see that I am up 16 over 15, so one thing that he's had to do, because he went for that expand so fast, he had to negate some of his drones that he would normally build, and now that I'm forcing him to build lings, it's basically evening out our economies. I'm actually a little bit ahead of him because he's been building spine crawlers as well, so he is morphing bane lanes, along with myself morphing bane lanes, so there's a key moment right here where I need to be attacking before these bane lanes get into play, and I do believe, yep, they're going to finish before any of this is ready. Right here we can see 2 queens. This is going to make me feel a little uneasy about pushing in. As soon as you see these banglings, that means very bad day for me. But I'm going to move in, tag those guys with my banelings, get a couple kills, move in, and I'm going to have 3 banelings that get into the base. So this is kind of the thing where if you can get your banelings into the base, now you need to do damage with them. So they need to explode in just the right place. No, don't go there. Oh, God, they didn't kill enough workers. Sad panda. But I guess taking a look at that, 10 harvesters over 19 harvesters. Was the attack a complete waste? It's kind of tough to say. If we check out units lost right here, we could say that we're both completely even. Our tech is even. We both have the same amount. We have everything almost identical. The one benefit that he has is this hatchery is still standing. His static defenses are still standing right now, but now I'm forcing him to build drones or build attacking units. He just does not have a very good economy right now, versus my economy is a little weak. It's right about where it needs to be to support this type of attack. So right now we really have to see, go back to the production for you guys, what I can do with this now that I have what I would say is the upper hand in the game. Can I maintain it? So he does have banelings coming out, and I like where he's keeping them. He's keeping them tucked back here, and what I would actually do is put them on top of the ramp for when I try to run up with all my speedlings. That's a great place for them. Knowing that he has banelings, am I gonna... Nope. I'm just gonna kind of poke in here. I'm gonna see what I can see these lings. Oh no, they're all gonna get exploded. Sad face. And right here, this sucks. Oh no. There was just not enough killage done there. You can see that he is back down to 11 harvesters. Units lost right now, favoring him by a decent margin this early in the game. The one advantage that I have is I've been able to keep his worker count very, very low until he decides to do that. That's one thing with Zerg, is that you can just do a mass drone build. Be like, oh yeah, I have a bunch more drones, but you can see I'm producing 20 units worth of lings, and this aggression is just going to be non-stop. I'm not going to let up, because I can feel, or at least I feel like I'm starting to gain an upper hand. I've been killing workers, and every time I go back in there, the base defenses have been just a little bit lighter than they were before. These spine crawlers just doing awesome, getting a lot of kills. These banelings going to be in just the right spot, possibly. Now, if we check this out, I have a lot of lings, but the thing is, I've got almost 25 lings there, but every single one of them could just be blown up and wasted by 1 or 2 banelings. So this is just the key moment where if I mess up, because there's enough banelings there where if I just try to do a run-in with all these lings, he's just going to bring them in, and they're all going to die. That'll take out my banelings, everything with it, and the attack will just absolutely fall apart. If we check out income right now, we can see that I'm up 21 over 15, so I have started building some harvesters in between these lings, and actually I'm going to switch over to building pretty much straight harvesters from here on out, because this is going to be probably the last push that I do with this. We can see I'm separating out my units. I don't just want to run them all in, and I'm going to send in a few units worth of Zerglings. I'm going to try to force some of those banelings to detonate, but I only get 1 of them, being very cost-effective, sending another 2 lings with these spine crawlers. Going to do... Oh, saves that baneling. God, that's so cool. Gotta hate that. Now, his banelings are out of position. He has a lot of lings right there, and we can see right here, I'm going to get an awesome run by my banelings in a great position. He's able to kill a lot of my Zerglings. That spine crawler does fall, that baneling going down, and all these lings are going to get into the base, but they're just not going to be alive for very long. Going to kill a few more workers. They're doing a good job at running away. More banelings going down, and all of them destroyed. This queen, she's going to live. Income right now, 17 over 24. My poor overlord, unfortunately, is going to die. Units lost at this point, favoring him ever so slightly. So this has been a fairly even exchange, and the one thing that is actually keeping me in this game despite all this aggression is the fact that my economy was a little bit better than his to start, and I haven't lost any workers. So this is kind of the slow, deliberate, I'm going to slowly bleed you out because my economy is that much better than yours the entire time, and there's just not much going on here. But to his credit, he has a lot of banelings still, and what am I doing? I'm rushing in for the kill right here, and all these... Oh no! Oh! All of the Zerglings just died. That definitely helped sweeten the pot for him. He's got to be feeling just fantastic right now. Myself, I'm like, fuck. I can't believe that I just did that. I lost all of those units, and right now I'm just going to... I really need to pull back, and I need to transition out to something else. I'm not going to be able to defend against this for too much longer. Income right now, we can see that he's... After that, he feels very confident. He drone boosted. He's up to 22. I'm at 27 right now. So we can see that I now have a Roach Warren coming down, more workers coming out. You're going to see me take a second gas very soon. This base right here, almost 2/3 of the way mined out. So we are at the 12-minute mark, and this is just one of those games, man? So I'm actually deciding to go for one more attack, and this is a small attack. So right here, that baneling, just going to murder everything. Mother, God, I hate you so much. And right now, this is more out of desperation. I know I need to do something with these banelings. And come on, get something. Yes! Oh, there we go. That was a money shot right there, ladies and gentlemen. So 16 over 31 harvesters, and And that's one thing that a lot of people don't like about ZVZ is some games just continue on like this forever. But because I lost so many Zerglings earlier, I couldn't afford to fund much more of that attack, and I just love how quickly Zerg can remax. That's awesome. These Lings coming in, they're going to go in and start to attack my queen, but one thing about this is you can get an awesome drone surround, and these Lings just don't do a lot of damage. The drones do decent against Lings, but not the greatest. We can see I have a massive spawn of roaches coming out, and that's just so cool. So go roach transition. That's about all I can say out of that. So right now, I'm going to send about 12 roaches towards his base, and the unfortunate thing is that these roaches are going to take forever to get there. He does not have the greatest defense setup. Let's take a look at the units lost right now. We can see that it's favoring him by a decent margin. I would say unless it's over 1,000 in difference, it's not really worth talking about. What is worth talking about is how many of his workers I have killed. I've killed 20 of his workers to him killing one of my workers. So that was the whole idea of this attack, is you're eco-harassing them, and hoping that your economy behind theirs is better, so you slowly but surely tend to pull ahead in the game. So he has a lot of Zerglings here, and he has static defenses, and what he really needs to do right now is to take these Lings and run around behind me and get a surround right here. I know that it's not ideal to attack on the ramp, but as long as those spines are alive, they do a lot of damage against roaches. We can see do 30 damage to armored units, but roaches actually do a good job at sniping down these defenses, and I wish I had some Lings to follow this up with. And what I'm going to do here is going to bury these roaches in the corner and reduce the surface area on them, and it's just going to take a lot of Lings. These banglings are all being wasted. The queen's doing everything they can to help out, and I am going to lose every single one of these roaches. And once the concave falls, roaches are really no longer cost-effective against Lings. Units lost right now. Now it's favoring him by a good margin. It's by about 1,000 right now. The one benefit to this is I'm at 41 over 25 harvesters, so that attack served its purpose by forcing him to produce more attacking units instead of producing more drones. So right now we can see there's a battle coming down. Lings at my main base. These roaches doing a decent job at holding the Lings off, and that's one thing. Roaches can be easily countered by Lings until they can hit a critical mass mark. So we can see putting up double Evo Chamber, I need to get my tech rolling, and what I really also need to do is I need to take a third base, and I need to expand. So I'm getting glial reconstitution, I'm getting more gas, more workers coming down, income right now, 40 over 28, so I did have to spend some drones on some structures. I am happy that I haven't had to make a single static defense yet, which is a good feeling. These Lings are going over here to scout to see if he's taking a third base, because if he is, it's probably ill-defended, or just getting up, and I want to either force a cancel, or, take out some workers that are there. But to my happiness, there is no third base over here, and I'm just going to leave these guys over here to snipe any workers that happen to come out. We can see that he has done a good job at spreading his overlords. Myself, I have a clump of overlords, and I will spread them out. I'm taking down the third set of rocks, and I love this. He has a Ling position down by my base. No upgrades for either one of us at this point. 46 over 34 production tab has me getting 1-1 for my for ground armor and for ranged units. Nice little pile of roaches, and even though they'll have roach speed, I still don't want to attack into this because I do not quite have the army to counter it. It wouldn't be a ending game situation. So what we see here is he is deciding to go for Spire. So this is kind of like the end game of most ZVZs right here, where there's early aggression, and then one person decides to go roaches, and then the other person, because it seems like an awesome idea, is like, I'm going to go mutas, because roaches can't attack mutas. But this is a situation where I don't mind being the guy that has the roaches. I find that when I'm the guy that has the mutas, I tend to be the one that loses. So checking this out, I saw that he had a decent amount of Zerglings on the ground, not really so much for roaches, but I was able to stop him from laying down that third base. So my third base will be up quite a bit before his. As long as I can saturate and make use of it, I'll be okay. And we can see now that I'm starting to expand out, I am spreading these overlords because I need that vision, because Zerg armies just move so crazy fast. Upgrades almost done. That's going to give me a big advantage, especially against the Muta attack. Armor upgrades are just absolutely imperative. Going back to the income right here, you can see that I'm still up 42 over 38, but realistically, I need some more workers here. I've transitioned a lot of workers out into other structures, to other places in the game. I have decent saturation here, but I really need to build about 10 to 15 more harvesters, and we can see that I actually just did a mass wave of drones down here, timed pretty perfectly. I have more gas coming out, and this Overseer is going to see this. His army, realistically, it's not very large, so right now, he's really waiting for these mutas. He has 10 on the way. He's been banking his gas the entire time because he's avoided building gas-heavy units. He does not have roach speed, so his roaches will be at a significant disadvantage. And I was able to kill a changeling over here, which is always a good feeling, but the one thing for me is I have no clue that mutas are in the field. He has not revealed them yet, so I do not have enough queens. I do not have hydras. I do have an infestation pit, and I'm going to build a wave of infestors here pretty soon, but I don't have enough gas to build more than maybe 1 or 2 infestors, so infestors can do extremely well against mutas. It takes about 4 fungal growths to kill them, and then you chain fungal them, get a few infested, tear them down, and oh, dude, campfire, I want to go hang out there, but after you do that, mutas just pretty much fall, which is always a good thing. But right here we can see that I do have spore crawlers coming up, but they're not going to quite be in time. My overlord providing me with that vision. And right here, this queen, she's going to do what she can, but it's too late for her. The mutas, they're going to have their way, and I'm going to lose a lot of workers here. This is Mimikio's revenge. This is the Japanese girl getting all up in your spot. I had to cancel those 2 units. Those 2 spore crawlers. That is going to give me a chance to get spore crawlers up here, and also hopefully get some spore crawlers up over here. We can see that I'm actually going for a roach counterattack. So this is one thing. If you have a bunch of mutas up in your base, and if you see that you have, like 20, 25 roaches, in this case, I have a lot of roaches just sitting around not doing anything, man, you gotta push with them. You gotta do something. So right here, I'm going to be able to get a lot of easy lane kills, and we can see the mutas are coming in. There's a lot of them, but mutas do 9 damage, and right now they're actually only doing 7 damage to roaches. You combine Zerg regeneration in there, it just takes forever to them to die. So I'm going to snipe this hatchery, which is going to delay his mining by a lot. I'm going to grab a few worker kills. I'm going to grab his queens. I'm going to grab these units. Go to units lost right here. You can see it's just about dead even, but I need to make this, worth my time. So was taking down that hatchery a big loss? It's tough to say because he was able to migrate almost all of those workers right over here. My roach number is dwindling. I'm going to grab that queen, and I'm going to try to grab whatever I can as far as worker kills. I know I do not have the DPS to take out the Spire right now, so going to income, 38 over 42. He was able to kill all my roaches. He has 16 mutas in the air, but one thing is he only has 1 queen right now, so the rate at which he can get more units out into the field is significantly reduced, and he does not have a very good economy right now, or at least not a lot of minerals banked, so not having this hatchery is actually going to be extremely invaluable to him, and we can see that he has not started collecting gas. They all got pulled off. So back at my main base, I will have a total of 4 spore crawlers, and that should be decent enough to defend the main buildings here. I really don't need the baneling nest, so if he decides to take that out, that's not the end of the day, but I have a lot of infestors right now, so this is going to be kind of key right here, and we can see he actually killed quite a few of my workers as well, which is always a sad day. But I'm going to be able to grab a decent fungal on some of those mutas, and oh no, they're going to get away. That's upsetting. So all I really did there was a little bit of free damage, but by the time these guys re-engage, they're going to be almost fully healed up anyway. But he knows I have infestors in play, and he knows that I have the ability to counter him, which is always a good feeling. But what he's going to do right now is he has to decide what is it, what can I do with these mutas? I've invested almost an entire geyser worth of gas into building these guys. They need to be worth something. So my ground army right now is very small. I'm relying strictly on infestors to stop this, and if I were him, I would actually try to do like a big counter push with a bunch of lings right now. But one advantage that I will have when it comes to fighting a battle is I have my 2-2 for my ground, for my roaches, and once I start to build hydralisks, which I'm gonna, spoil it, you can see in the production tab, I have hydras. They're going to be extremely effective against these mutas who right now have no upgrades. In fact, I don't think he's produced a single upgrade, so he's sniping a lot of my overlords, and right here, I really need to get some decent fungals down, and right there we can see fungals coming down, but he's picking away at my infestors. I need to be careful not to let any of them die. More fungals happening right here, and come on, fungal them again. Stop sucking at life. And right here, just doing free damage. I mean, they're whittled down, but the problem is they're not dead, so he can fly them away, they can regenerate, and I think I might have even lost, I lost 1 infestor in that, and I don't think I killed any mutas. So right now these infestors are keeping them at bay, but the hydras are going to be the real damage dealers. They're going to be the guys that, seal the death blow in this. But if we take a look at the income right now, you can see I'm down to 49 harvesters, and I'm mined out, and I'm currently only on 2 base. Now, so is he, but he still has minerals back here at his main base. He still has a lot of minerals here at this base. I'm much further along in this. So units lost right now are favoring him by quite a bit. So what's starting to happen here is, even though we're both on the same number of bases, I've had to throw more units away to beat him, meaning that he can last longer on 3 bases than I can. And these mutas giving him cover so he can take his 4th base. We can see I'm setting up my 4th base as well, establishing my gas, which realistically I need minerals so bad right now. I need to take guys off of gas to get more minerals, but it's not like I really have a lot of room for that. I can see I have decent saturation there. I could use a few more workers here, but it's one of those things where you get a temporary boost in minerals, but you might need that gas later, so I'm just going to keep them on there in case I forget type of scenario. But for you guys, it's something where don't be afraid if you just desperately need minerals to pull your guys off of gas for a bit. That really is a decision that you have to make, and we can see these mutas just taking their time regenerating their health. Fungal growth only does 30 damage to them. It's not the best spell in the world for taking out mutas, but if you chain it and don't suck at life, kind of like what I did, it's very effective. So what I'm doing now that I'm taking my 4th base is I'm putting my army out into the middle of the map. I have enough anti-air where if he decides to push any of these bases with his mutas, he's going to take some pretty heavy losses, and that will give me time to get my infestors down. I have Hydras out on play, so as long as I can fungal them and hold them, the Hydras are going to come do 14 damage a shot. They're just, God, Hydras are ballers, but if we take a look at this, he is going Ultralisks. So these Hydras, these mutas, one thing that you want to pay attention to is he's not going to build another muta, and it's something that I noticed during this game as well, is after I take out a majority of those mutas, there's not going to be any more of them. So if you're playing this type of game, watch for what they do. If that muta cloud continues to shrink and isn't getting bigger, then there's a very good chance that they're just not doing any more of it. Now, one thing that is going to help a lot, we're talking endgame here, there's going to be an epic battle, there's going to be something that decides this, is there is no attack upgrade on these guys whatsoever, and they only have their chitinous plating. They do not have any upgrades. I don't even think it has an evolution chamber out in play. So this is very, very strange, simply because I don't think you get to Diamond, and I don't think you play hundreds and hundreds of games without eventually realizing the benefits of upgrades. I mean, you're talking about a very small difference in units, but having your upgraded units versus non-upgraded units is almost always going to lose you these fights. And when you take a look at what these Ultras do, when they're upgraded, they do... they do 44 or 45 damage to armored targets, and they do somewhere along, I think it's either 19 or 21 damage against unarmored targets, and they attack very, very quickly with that massive splash radius. So that's right there. Every 4 attacks that you make with unupgraded troops are like 4 attacks made with upgraded troops. So it's just one of those things where why not get them? You would have maybe 2 or 3 less Ultralisks, but every Ultra is almost 25% more effective in its attacking, and it's just compounding. So right here we can see these mutas are just more or less flying around being annoying, and they are going to spot a Hydralisk den that is out in the open, but he can kill the Hydralisk den as far as I'm concerned. Right now I am maxed out on supply, and I can rebuild it very quickly. That is not a terribly large loss for me. And right here I'm actually going to get some fungals down, and I'm going to manage to take out quite a few of these Mutalisks. You can see I have not lost a single infestor yet. That's very good. That was costly for him. Mutalisks, not expensive, but that pack of 20 is now down to a pack of 5. So they've pretty much outlived their usefulness at this point in the game. They're target practice for my awesome badass Hydralisks, but he has so many Ultras. This is scary when you start to get to that many Ultras against this army where they can literally ball you up. They are not susceptible to fungal growth at all. So going into this, it's going to be all about engagement. Now, I have no clue that he has Ultras. My scouting has been quite poor this entire game. I've been more or less focused on defending my front, and we can see both of us floating just an obscene amount of resources right now, particularly myself. We're both maxed, and this is it. This is the big showdown right here that we've all been waiting for. So I'm going to bust down these rocks so I can have more surface area, and he's waiting for me to bust them down. So what this is going to come down to right here is all about engagement. So right here, when I see these Ultras, I'm like, fuck. He has a few infestors, and the fungal growth is definitely going to be effective against them, but what's really going to hurt him here is he has no upgrades whatsoever. Now, he's just starting to get those. He's also getting his crack upgrade. Myself, I have 2-2. I have not started 3-3 yet because I have not started a hive because I'm a noob. But taking a look at this, he can only get 1 or 2 Ultras into attacking at a time. These fungal growths are going down, not because they stop the Ultralisk, but because they deal 40 free damage to Ultras, which is going to be very, very important. I have a lot of Hydras, which are pretty squishy, and Ultralisks definitely chew through them, but they're going to be doing 12 damage a shot. No, excuse me, 11 damage a shot to these Ultras, which it takes a lot of shots, but we're going to have to see what happens right here. So a few units slowing them down, infestors just blaring the brunt of it, dropping down infested Terran all over the place. I'm doing anything that I can, basically to soak up damage and to keep my blast cannons, my Hydras, out in view. And a lot of roaches going down, and this has probably got to be very, very infuriating for him right now when he realizes that these Ultras are going to die, and my army is actually going to be able to pick this up and is going to be able to get the win. And the reason for that is I had so many units in this concave that his Ultras, if I would have engaged here, his Ultras could have gotten a surround. If I would have engaged up here, my army would have just melted, and I would have had to GG at that point, just an instant tap out. Now he's counterattacking with a lot of Zerglings, and these Fungals are going to go down, and because he does not have an armor upgrade, these Fungals are actually going to one-shot. No, they won't one-shot these Zerglings. That's too bad, but they have almost no health, so they go down very, very easily. my upgrades being extremely beneficial, and right now, it's just almost too late. These 7 Ultralisks are going to come out, and if he could get them out in time, he might be able to stop my army, but I'm reinforcing with so many roaches, and I'm now getting Hive Tech because I've realized that I don't have 3/3, and I'm such a noob. But these Lings, they're just not going to be able to do a lot, and these Ultras, when there's so many roaches shooting at them when they could be singled out, and these Hydras in the back just dealing so much damage, man, having a few Hydras mixed in is just such a good feeling, because they look awesome. That's really about it. And Mimikio leaves the game, just like any Japanese girl. Once she's done with you, once they're all used up, she's going to run away, but in this case, it is Mimikio that is used up. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this long-winded Zerg macro game. This was a very fun game to play, because it really had 3 distinct parts. There was the early aggression, harass at his base, transition into mid-game build-up harass by Mutalisks, defense with Infestors, right to the end game where it all comes down to positioning, and right here, this was luck on my part. I won't claim skill, but the reason why I attacked up here was twofold. Like I said, this is a place where if you're going to take a 5th base, it's pretty much got to be here, and going after that 5th base while I'm getting mine up, it was going to be very important. I felt that I had the army advantage, and that I would be able to win any engagement, so I wanted to engage here, get Fungals down, get a concave on my troops, get a concave on his troops through here, or even better, have him attack through here and come up here as I took his base. It ended up working out for my benefit even better because his Ultras, man, you can only get 2 or 3 Ultras in there, and having all my troops behind him, they DPS'd him down, man. The Infested Terran buying me precious seconds as these guys were the moneymakers, and Infested Terran sharing their upgrades. So cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this game. I know I enjoyed playing it. This is Malachi Cowtipper signing off.